Hello and welcome back to the garden. Today is Saturday, July 1st. It's just after 9 o'clock in the evening. The moon is coming up. July 3rd is a full moon, but it's plenty big and bright this evening. So I figured I'd give you a little tour and show you what's going on in the garden. We're going to be up here for a bit, so we did not do any work in the garden today. This is what it looks like after a week of us being gone and just putting some water on it and not much else. We got some weeding to do. That first row of potatoes about halfway down is almost solid grass. Definitely going to tackle that tomorrow over the next couple of days. These are our rattlesnake beans. They are at the top and exceeding the top of the trellis now. So this is not quite 6 feet tall, but getting close to it. Usually what happens with these rattlesnake beans is once they reach the top, then they start putting on a bunch of blossoms and start producing some pods. So we're getting close there. There are some that are smaller than others. Some were replanted because they came up real spotty. That guy just decided he was going to grow right there. We should have a bumper crop of green beans this year. So plan on picking them and eating them fresh and canning them so that we can have them throughout the off season. As we get down here, these are what we called the big purple beans because the beans themselves were great big and purple. You can kind of see on the other side of the fence there, they've got these bright orange blossoms. They're really pretty. So those should be putting on some pods here shortly. As we move down, these are Royal Burgundy bush beans. And you can see they've got purple blooms there. They're looking really cool and very good. And a couple different varieties as we near the end here. These are more of a bush style bean, so they're really not going to trellis up too much on the fence. And these are pintos. They just didn't do great, but they're in there. And like I said, I got a ton of weeding I need to do over there in that potato row. Speaking of potatoes, not great news. We had to dust. Didn't want to, but we were losing the battle against the potato beetles. There was a couple of new hatches that happened on the plants, and a few plants were not completely destroyed, but they were really being attacked. So in the interest of trying to maintain a potato crop, we did dust them. We'll let you know how that goes. It's usually one application, and that pretty much takes care of them. Hopefully that is the case this year. Here's more pinto beans, and we get down here. These really gnarly looking dudes are kidney beans. I've never planted those or grown those before, so it'll be interesting to see how they do. The peas are going absolutely nuts. These are shell peas. They're about knee high. Lots of blossoms and blooms. We're hoping that by next week end, maybe we'll have, probably not pea pods. I mean, the shell peas probably won't be ready to go. But these guys down here, the snow peas, we're hoping that maybe we can get some of these to form pods and be ready to eat within the next week or so. As we come down here, there's some that Troy replanted because these guys came up real spotty. And I think I mentioned in one of my previous videos, this is not their favorite time of year. They're really a cool weather crop. So we'll see how they hang in there as the forecast is now calling for highs in the 80s and 90s. They'll probably set on pods, and we'll probably be able to pick maybe once or twice, and then that'll be it for them. Definitely going to start those earlier next year. Roll the dice, see if we can get them in the ground, even if it's before the average last frost date, just to see if we can extend their growing season. Tomatoes are wild and crazy. I know the video last week, I'd shown you the tomatoes after we did the pruning. This is them wild and crazy this week. Probably come back through, do some more pruning. Look at this though, you know, the fruit is really starting to come on. I'm excited. I can't wait for some of these guys to start turning. We will do that pruning and assess and probably attach some of those branches with fruit to the cattle panel to help give them some support as they start to ripen. Some of the basil is out of this world. Those are still kind of tiny, but look at these guys. They're 18 inches tall and they're starting to flower. Definitely going to try the basil tea at some point throughout this weekend. The carrots, they're going to get their first good weeding this weekend. They're coming along, starting to grow really nice. They're going to be spotty. That's just the way it is. I don't know if you've ever seen a carrot seed. They're about the size of finely ground pepper. They're tough to plant because they're so little. There's some more basil down there, looking good. There's a tomato, looking good. That basil's even bigger. So yeah, everything's coming along. These are the daikon radish. Probably won't get in there and mess around because the mosquitoes are, if I go in there, there's going to be a cloud of mosquitoes that fly out of it. So we'll check and see how the daikon radish looks once we get in there and start weeding that row with the carrots. Again, more tomatoes. This is just going to be an absolute bumper crop. Very exciting. What's the worst that could happen? We have too many. We'll figure out what to do when we have too many. So, anyway, that's how things are going. Probably, I don't know if we'll take another video tomorrow or if it'll be later in the week, maybe next weekend, and update you on everything. The vines are absolutely nuts. All of the vines, yeah, I don't know how else to describe it. They're just going insane. The peppers are here on the end. Doing well. These are the ones that we started from seed. They're about 12 inches tall. These are the ground cherries. We noticed they're starting to set on their little fruit pods. They kind of have husks on them, like a tomatillo does. There it is. And there it is. And right now it's not hollow, but what's in there needs to develop. And then the husk starts to turn brown, and then it's ready to eat. I don't know what you can do with them aside from just snack on them. I'll have to do some research on that, and we'll see how they come on. So, another point of interest, Joel's potato. There it is. It's doing well. It did not get attacked by potato beetles at this point, but we'll keep an eye on it. My morning glories are starting to attach themselves to the trellis, which is super exciting for me because I cannot wait until they climb up and over the top. This is Swiss chard. It's doing great. I stole a couple of radishes out of there for dinner. Stole a few little garden onions for dinner as well. These are turnips. They are bushy and starting to put some energy into creating bulbs underneath the soil. Those will usually stay in the garden until even after the first frost, because when it gets cold is when it sets on its sugars, and that's the best time to pick the turnips. This is zucchini. I am not going to dig into that plant to find you a vegetable because the leaves are scratchy, and I know for sure there's one over here. So here we go. There's a zucchini. It's coming along nicely. Got some more blooms and blossoms. Here's our pumpkin. Haven't counted how many pumpkins we have on that plant, but it's going crazy. There's a little watermelon, a little slow to take off. Here's a squash. It's doing well. I might as well show you as long as we're here. This is broccoli and Brussels sprouts, all doing well. We've harvested broccoli 2 or 3 times, and it's so tasty. Really good. It's coming on. So, this area of the garden was just watered this evening, so you'll notice a good amount of water on the ground. This is a patty pan squash, and we actually have some on here that probably by the end of this weekend we might harvest and maybe saute. I'm trying to find it in here. Okay. There. Patty pan squash. See? It's so cute. There's another down there. These guys will get to be about baseball size, but if you pick them when they're about this size, maybe a little bit bigger, and saute them, they're really tasty. Here we go, more vines. This is another squash. This is a melon, a mango melon. I've got some blooms on there, but I haven't really seen any fruit on it yet. Here's Troy's watermelon. It's coming along. There's little watermelons all over in there.